Cliff, I've always had a fascination with the jobs that actors have before they're actors. Didn't you once work for a detective agency trailing people?
Mark, yes, pulling a long bow. You're going way back. Yes, indeed. When in my fervent days in New York, after I left the paper, I was a print journalist. I wrote for a paper, a daily paper. Fell in with bad companions, ended up in the theater off Broadway and the rest of it. But in those fervent years, we did everything to sort of stay alive. And I was a busboy, and I was a longshoreman, and I was a waiter. And at one point, I was usually a private detective, which was a joke. It was about 8 minutes, but some of us actors were hired to follow people.
What was that experience like for you?
It's ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Now, well, turning to PT 109, I
Yeah.
know people ask you about that a lot.
Yeah.
But didn't you, after it was done, didn't you go to the White House and visit the Oval Office for that?
I was invited by President Kennedy. I was doing a movie with Jane Fonda in New York, and I got a call from the White House saying the president would like to invite me to come down. When would it be convenient? So I said, well, whenever it's convenient for the prez, you know. So the next thing I'm down, and I got to meet him, and we had a wonderful meeting and chat. And like all fathers, we talked about our daughters. And then subsequently wrote some letters, and he gave me some gifts, and then, of course, he was assassinated. But that was a very fond memory. I was very honored.
You know, a question about predicting the box office viability of movies that you make. When you did Gidget, did you think that was going to be a big hit, kind of
Yes.
classic?
I was under contract at Columbia Pictures, so I had no choice. But yes, I have never considered myself, a guru in terms of predicting. But I, brought up in La Jolla, and as a surfer, I had every feeling that that surfing movie was going to tap the senses of all these kids, not only in California, but all over. And it was a huge success, followed by other Gidgets. Sally Field became a
Yeah.
Gidget.
Well, turning Escape from New York, I mean, I grew up watching Kurt Russell in these Disney movies, the computer wore tennis shoes, that
Yeah.
type of thing. When you're acting opposite him and he's wearing that eye patch, are you flashing back to some of these old movies he did?
He was brought up in the business. I mean, his father's an actor, as you know, a good actor. I happily, I think because of my stage background, I grew up, I mean, after I left the paper and I began working in the theater off Broadway and Broadway, I guess I developed a certain discipline of public isolation, if you will, public solitude. I was able to get into the character, so it didn't bother me, no. Unless, you know, he had flipped it up and started winking at me, but I didn't know, it didn't bother me at all. He's a nice guy to work with.
And one final question. When you play the President of the United States,
Yeah.
do the crew members treat you with a little bit more respect on the set?
Yeah, a couple of them said, "Hi, Prez. How you doing, Prez?" No, they all know me, and I've worked with an awful lot of people, a lot of crews, so they know me from various roles and various movies, so it's always Cliff, and it's a very egalitarian environment. We don't go around like this, and we hope we don't have to have some superstar who acts, you know. Kurt is just as level and down to earth as he can be, and of course John is a delight to work with.
I agree. Thank you. It was an honor meeting you. I was,
Thank you.